Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tiara Steffen, and I am the Product Marketing Coordinator on the Qgiv team. You'll see here I'm joined by Justin Cook, the Director of Demand Generation at Qgiv, and Heidi Morris, one of our excellent customer success managers who will be helping answer questions during the webinar and in our live Q&A portion. So today I'm going to be going over how to host a hybrid auction event that is both fun and engaging for your in-person attendees and also your virtual bidders. So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. We are recording the webinar, so everyone, all registrants will receive an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to the session, as well as some additional resources. And please feel free to use the chat for any general discussion and to talk with your fellow fundraisers who are on the webinar today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. You can add those into the Q&A tab in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. And if you're having trouble with the Q&A tab, don't even worry about it. Just drop your questions in the chat. We'll keep track of them and answer them throughout the webinar and at the end as well. And if you use social media, please feel free to share any highlights or your favorite takeaways from the webinar and give Qgiv a follow. So like I said, my name is Tiara. I'm the Product Marketing Coordinator here at Qgiv. I've been with Qgiv just at the end of August. I celebrated my 3 years here. Time flies. I love researching fundraising best practices and helping nonprofits level up their fundraising game. And outside of work, you can often find me at a concert, watching movies, playing trivia, or hanging out with my 2 senior dogs. So today we're going to cover all things hybrid auctions. We'll talk about what a hybrid auction is, why a hybrid auction might be the right choice for your organization, the planning process for hosting a hybrid auction, and the tools you'll need to pull off a successful hybrid auction. So to begin with, let's go over what a hybrid auction actually is. So if you're unfamiliar with a hybrid event in general, it's basically an event that's a 2-in-1. It's an in-person event and a virtual event at the same time. Your supporters that are looking for a fun night supporting a good cause can plan to attend your event and have a great time, while your donors that are maybe out of town, prefer the comfort of their own homes, or maybe they're just plain too busy to attend an in-person event, they can still show up and show their support. So whether your attendees are perusing the auction tables or just scrolling through items on their phones and laptops from their couches, they can bid on items from anywhere. With the help of technology and good old-fashioned event planning, you can plan a hybrid auction that all of your attendees, both in person and virtual, can enjoy. So now that we've covered what a hybrid auction is, you might be wondering why you should consider hosting one. A hybrid auction is a great choice for organizations of all sizes for a number of reasons. The first is that your supporters can choose the auction experience they prefer. So some of your bidders may enjoy a traditional auction or event experience. So dressing up for a night on the town, seeing the auction items in person, and mingling with fellow supporters at an event space. But not everyone is interested in that experience. Other bidders may prefer a more casual setting or have reasons that they can't attend in person. Maybe they have health issues that prevent them from attending large gatherings, or maybe they just like being at home on a night off compared to a crowded event. So a hybrid auction ensures that you can give all of your supporters an enjoyable auction experience based on their personal preferences and comfort levels. Hybrid auctions are also a great way to engage supporters who aren't local. So thanks to the partially virtual nature of a hybrid auction, location no longer becomes an issue for organizations with supporters who don't all live in one localized area. Maybe they've moved away, or maybe they're just simply unable to travel to an in-person event because of conflicting obligations or because they're out of town. With this in mind, you can also expand your audience with a hybrid auction. You no longer need to restrict the marketing for your auction to just your supporters. So you can spread the word about your hybrid event to people who maybe haven't heard of your organization just yet, but would be interested in your cause, because geography and location is no longer a limitation. And that's another reason why a hybrid auction is a great idea. Your auction participants can just bid on these items online. All of those paper bid sheets that you had to keep track of in previous auctions and make sure that everyone is filling out correctly, those are now a relic of the past. Thanks to online bidding software, you can easily keep track of your auction's progress, and all of your guests can bid on items, purchase event items like raffle tickets, and make donations all from their mobile phones and laptops. And a big reason why a hybrid auction could be a great for your organization is that you can easily lower your overhead costs for what is traditionally a pretty pricey event format. So with less in-person attendees, you won't have to rent as large of a venue space, and you'll be able to spend less on things like food, staging, and other production costs. There is the cost of perks that you maybe choose to provide for virtual guests, like maybe a goodie bag that you deliver before or after the event, and live stream equipment if you're including that element as well, but you don't have to get too fancy with it. Ultimately, you can keep your costs low and keep the majority of your funds going towards your mission. So now that we've discussed what a hybrid auction is and why you should maybe consider hosting one, let's get into the actual planning process for a hybrid auction. There are many logistics to consider because you have both in-person and virtual components, and some of these planning tips are also key for any event, not just a hybrid auction, but there may just be some additional considerations to take into account when you're hosting a hybrid auction. So the first decision you need to make when hosting a hybrid auction is choosing a date. There's so much to plan for when putting together an auction, so it's essential to make sure you're choosing a date that gives you enough time to put together a successful fundraiser. The more time you give yourself for planning, the more breathing room you'll have to plan the perfect hybrid auction event. You also need to consider whether you'll be hosting the virtual and in-person components of your auction at the same time, or if maybe you're going to be opening your auction early for pre-bidding. Your supporters can get an early start on bidding for the items they're interested in, and they'll also already be registered for your auction by the time the actual night rolls around, so your in-person attendees don't always have to wait in long registration lines. You also want to make sure to choose the right event or the right venue for your in-person attendees. The first thing to consider is how many people will be attending in person versus virtually. Now, early on in the planning process, it can be difficult to determine how many of your supporters will want to attend in person, but you don't need to estimate blindly. Instead, ask your supporters to RSVP to your upcoming event, and also use past in-person event attendance to gauge how many people would be interested in actually attending your auction physically. And though your virtual attendees won't actually be enjoying your auction from your venue, it's still important to keep them in mind. You still need to be able to facilitate or at least monitor the virtual portion of your event from your venue, which means your venue needs to have the amenities you need to do that. So that means you need access to Wi-Fi, and if you're planning on live streaming your entertainment, your venue also needs to be able to support those production needs. Now, in order to support your auction, it really helps to have sponsors. Recruiting sponsors isn't always easy, but being prepared before you start soliciting sponsors can really help you find that success. The first part of sponsorship management is determining what you're providing sponsors based on their contribution and then clearly communicating those benefits. So you can do this by creating a sponsorship packet with benefits that are given based on sponsorship levels. So consider what level of support maybe comes with a table or a booth. Will they be sponsoring a portion of the auction? What kind of signage are they going to show up on? And then once you've created all those benefits, you need to make sure to follow through. So for example, if you're offering sponsors booth and table space, you need to make sure that you have enough room for that in your event layout. You'll have limited venue space, so determine how many spots you're offering at each level of sponsorship that you have to fill. Now, don't forget to create a sponsorship receipt as well. I highly recommend providing all of your sponsors with a receipt that includes an itemized summary for tax purposes. And then, leading up to the event, after the event, make sure to thank them. Give them a call or write a handwritten note to thank them with a little extra attention, and also to give them that little personal touch. If they're attending your auction, greet them on site and get to know them to start building that long-term relationship. Now, in order to support a successful hybrid auction event, you need to choose the right event technology. So in the case of a hybrid event, there are two different attendee experiences you'll need to keep in mind when selecting your event tech: the in-person experience and the virtual experience. Now, for the in-person experience, you need to make sure that you have a great AV setup for entertainment and other special presentations that you have planned throughout the night. So when selecting your venue, take note of things during your walkthrough like outlet access, and ask your venue what AV equipment they'll be able to support you with and what you might need to recruit an outside vendor for instead. And as you get closer to the event, you want to start getting your technology implemented for a test run. So that means checking your Wi-Fi signal, testing your laptops, and taking your event apps for a spin before check-in to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Guest management tools can also really come in handy here. You want your guests to have a great experience, and you can easily make this possible with the help of technology. So before your event, start planning out your event layout and make sure that you have enough tables and seating for every person that's coming to the in-person portion of your auction. Qgiv offers table and seating management tools that you can use to make sure your venue layout is optimized for the best possible event experience. And while on site, you can also streamline usual event experiences like checking into your event with QR code tickets. And then you can also manage your attendees before and on site through a virtual terminal that is easily accessible through a laptop or an app on your smartphone, like Qgiv's mobile virtual terminal. We'll dive a little deeper into the virtual terminal a bit later, but this tool allows you to stay organized and on top of your event in real time, saving you time and energy and enabling you to focus on delivering an unforgettable event experience for your attendees throughout your auction night. Then you'll also need to consider what you need to keep your virtual attendees engaged and active in your auction throughout the night. So if you're planning on hosting a live stream to bring your virtual attendees into your live event, make sure you have all the supplies that you need. So pick a platform, make sure you're familiar with it leading up to your event, and run practice live streams and figure out where in the venue your live stream can be run from. This doesn't have to be a fancy setup. With even just a smartphone, you can run a live stream on your organization's social media channels like Facebook and Instagram. But for a more engaging and polished experience, you may want to use a platform dedicated to video and live streaming like Zoom, Twitch, YouTube, and Vimeo. For a hybrid auction, you'll also need to research and choose an online auction platform so all of your guests can place bids. So let's get into that now. One of the most important things to look for in your auction software is a platform that supports both mobile and web-based bidding. This gives your guests the option to either bid from their phones, which will likely be the preferred option for in-person guests and virtual bidders who are on the go, or to bid from their laptops or computers, which many of your virtual bidders at home might prefer. It can also be helpful to have that guest management software we briefly touched on earlier combined with your auction software. So things like QR code check-in can easily streamline your check-in process and shorten lines, while table and seating management tools can help you get the lay of the land when it comes to organizing and optimizing your venue space. If you're running a live stream for your virtual auction participants, you can make it really easy for them to access that live stream by embedding it directly into your website. With Qgiv's auction website, you can embed live streams from Facebook Live, YouTube, and other platforms on your website for people to watch from. Your virtual bidders will hopefully already be using that website to register for your event and find all the information they need to know, so they'll know exactly where to go to find your live stream as well. On your auction website, you can also use a virtual storefront, so all of your auction participants can purchase items from their mobile devices. Your in-person attendees can purchase things like drink tickets on their phones instead of waiting in line to pay, and your virtual attendees can still participate in events like a raffle you have planned during the night by purchasing those raffle tickets online. And finally, your auction software should also help you simplify the checkout process. No one wants to wait in a long line after such a fun night of socializing and exciting bidding wars. So leaving your auction event off on a bad note can really just sour the whole experience for your supporters. Instead, find an auction platform that can enable your winning bidders, whether they're physically at your event or at home, to check out and pay for the items that they won on their mobile devices. When you're planning a hybrid auction event, there's more to it than just auction items and bidding. You also probably have entertainment scheduled and other event elements that you want your bidders to focus on enjoying. Without technology and just using paper bid sheets, your donors will feel like they have to stay by the silent auction tables to keep tabs on the items they're interested in and to see if they've been outbid. Or maybe they actually want to stick by the tables and get caught up in conversation or stuck in line at the bar or dessert table. And for your virtual attendees, they can't keep tabs on their bids with paper bid sheets at all. But you also don't want to keep them refreshing the pages for the auction items they're interested in to make sure they're not being outbid. So instead of worrying about making sure that everyone's on top of their bids, that they're not being outbid, with app-based bidding, like through Qgiv's Qgiv app, your bidders can receive push notifications to their phones, letting them know when they've been outbid in real time. Then they can hop right back into the app from anywhere in the room or at home to just place another bid. If they don't even want to worry about placing another bid themselves, they can set a maximum bid amount that will automatically increase their bids on the item until bidding reaches that limit. If your donors don't want to download an app like Qgiv, they can still bid using their web browsers and receive outbid notifications by text or email. This improves the guest experience and can result in more back and forth bidding on your items. Another way to increase bidder engagement is to send out communications. This is especially important for keeping your virtual auction participants informed about what's going on during your auction. There are lots of ways to utilize messaging tools for all stages of your auction experience, from encouraging your supporters to register for your event, all the way through to your thank yous after bidding has closed and everyone's collected the items they've won. Text, email, and social media are the most popular ways to make announcements and communicate with guests. Social media and email are the perfect communication avenues for promoting your event to your supporters. And one of the best use cases for text messaging is to keep your guests engaged on site and at home. The ability to pre-schedule messages throughout your auction is so valuable for driving awareness and saving you lots of time when you're on site. Take note of your run of show to identify when you can send out specific messages to let auctions know about what's coming up during your event, like when you're about to start a raffle, when bidding is about to open, or to give your sponsors shout outs. You can also keep tabs on your underperforming auction items and send out text messages in real time to boost awareness of those items and drive more bids. Now, at the center of your auction experience are the items that your supporters are bidding on. So your auction items have the ability to make or break your hybrid auction event. So if you offer up items that no one wants to bid on, you probably won't raise enough to reach your fundraising goal. So picking the right auction items for your audience can take time, but it's well worth the effort. One of the things that you can do to source your auction items is to designate a team that's dedicated to finding those auction items for you. Listen to the signals your supporters give you, send out surveys, and just chat with members of your community to find out what they'd be interested in bidding on. You can also work on finding auction items that are relevant to your organization's mission. So for example, if you're a pet shelter, it's likely that a lot of your supporters are pet owners themselves. So offering things like a gift certificate for grooming sessions would probably be a popular item for your bidders. Now, you'll also want to get these items for as close to free as possible. So it may help to ask for donations from your community partners, board members, and sponsors. Make sure your auction item donors are also educated about your mission so they can determine what they might have to offer that's best for your auction. You don't want to end up with auction items that are completely unrelated to your supporters' interests or that might even be inappropriate for your cause. And with virtual bidders being involved in your auction, you also need to keep in mind how they'll be able to receive the items they win. If your supporters are local, you can arrange a time for them to come pick up their items, but if they live a bit further away, you may have to look into shipping winning items. So if you have larger items that would be difficult to ship, or items that are hyper specific to your location, like a gift certificate to a local restaurant, those may not be good options for your virtual bidders to bid on. So keep that in mind when you're sourcing your items. And then finally, you want to thank your auction item donors. Invite them to your auction, thank them publicly during your event, and make sure to follow up with them again after your auction is wrapped up to thank them for their generosity and continue building a good relationship with them. Once you've collected your auction items, it's time to let everyone know about them. So in the weeks leading up to your auction event, tease those auction items in your marketing communications to your supporters and use a multi-channel marketing approach to ensure that you reach a wide audience when spreading the word about your auction items. Use email, social media, direct mail, and any other communications channels to reach out to your donors and show those items off. And thanks to the virtual component of your auction, as I've already said, you don't need to limit your marketing to solely local supporters and donors. So as your auction items come in, load them into your auction platform and feature them on your website so your potential registrants will see them and be enticed to register to participate and bid on those items. And make sure to write accurate descriptions of your auction items when you upload them into your platform. Your virtual bidders won't be able to see the auction items in person, so they need to know what each item is through your descriptions. Now, you can also post video and images of some of your big ticket attention grabbing items on your social media profiles and also in your promotional emails to help drive event registrations and increase excitement for your event. Speaking of encouraging more bidding activity, video tools are a great way to build an experience around high-value auction items to encourage guest participation, especially if the items you're auctioning off aren't tangible, like an all-expenses-paid vacation or a gift certificate. You can use your smartphone to create these videos and then jazz them up with free software like Canva. While video can be utilized for all items, it does take time to make them. So prioritize the items that you think need an extra boost for visibility. Now, these videos are also great for using in your general promotional strategy. Something we have seen other organizations do in the days leading up to their auction is post those videos on their social media profiles. Sometimes they do an item of the day or something like that to generate excitement and encourage supporters to sign up to bid. If an on-the-fence supporter isn't sure whether they want to attend your auction, an item that catches their eye can be the perfect motivation to sign up to bid. Now, as part of your planning process, you want to build a solid team that can help you pull off a successful hybrid auction, and that includes your staff and volunteers. Similar to attendees, you want to provide a positive experience for your auction volunteers. They are a crucial part to your nonprofit, not just for events, but in other areas too. So it's important to take care of them when they're volunteering their time. The first thing is giving them clear information about what they are doing. So depending on your volunteers' roles, they may be in a position where they're the ones handling technology at your event, like checking attendees in and out, accepting donations and last-minute registrations, and moderating your live streams chat. So for those responsible for using your fundraising tools, ask your fundraising tool provider if they have easy to understand instructions on how to use them. Making sure those volunteers have training on the tools you're using should be a massive priority. Before your event, Qgiv actually offers free training for you, your staff, and your volunteers from our customer experience team so you can be successful with your auction tools and not have to worry about putting together a full volunteer training program all by yourself. You also want to make sure that your volunteers know who is a part of the dedicated staff they can approach for questions. Delegating some leadership roles frees you up to focus on the bigger picture when things get busy and leave those smaller details in the capable hands of your staff members. You also need to provide your volunteers with clear communication about any changes to your event, preferably well before your event. But things happen, so make sure you're communicating about what's going on. You won't be able to run a smooth event if your volunteers are in the dark about changes to the parts of the event that they're helping with. And a big part of building your fundraising team is making sure they're prepared. So that can mean doing an event walkthrough. So during an event walkthrough, you want to pretend that you're an attendee, walk through the event venue, sit in the seats, identify trouble areas. And for your virtual attendees, you also want to make sure your live stream has a clear view throughout the event and that all of your auction software works as planned. So during this walkthrough, test your technology, especially any technology that you need for your hybrid attendees. Are the devices that need to be connected to Wi-Fi connected to Wi-Fi? Is your live stream technology working smoothly? Is it clear where to find people quickly to check in? Is your bidding software sending out notifications as planned? This is also where you can give your volunteers who are handling technology the training they need during the walkthrough, in case you haven't been able to already. Like I said, Qgiv already has plenty of free training opportunities for your team and a lot of resources on our website for your fundraising tools. You also want to run example scenarios to prepare for the worst. So if a credit card reader isn't working, do you still have an alternative way to accept credit card payments or easy alternative payment methods? How will you deal with technical difficulties on your live stream? Any scenario you can think of, test yourself ahead of time so you'll be prepared if it actually happens. And if you didn't have a separate meeting with your volunteers before, this is a great time to educate them. So make sure they're invited to that event walkthrough. You can also get them involved and act out their responsibilities so they know what's expected of them. And that applies to your staff as well. Make sure your staff members know what to do and what the responsibilities are throughout the event. You also want to run through key on-site functions like your check-in area and food and beverage areas to make sure your attendees all have enough room at every station to have an enjoyable event experience. And lastly, you'll want to go through a final run of show check with your whole group of staff and volunteers. Run of show is basically a walkthrough of your event's timing with an agenda, and you'll basically speak through your event agenda out loud and solicit questions to make sure there's no confusion with anyone who is working your event. Now you have two auction experiences to consider when hosting a hybrid event. The experience we're going to go over first is the in-person attendee experience. We're going to take a look at how to provide the optimal experience for them and consider all the touch points, what touch points could be a negative experience and what touch points you can use to enhance their in-person experience. The first step is to understand what your in-person attendees expect. The flashy stuff is great. It creates an engaging experience, but if you don't do the basics right, the rest of that stuff doesn't matter. So what do attendees expect at all event types? The first thing is short lines. I don't know anybody that likes to wait. And the last thing you want is to make long lines at your event a talking point when your attendees are socializing. So if you can, have multiple lines set up at check-in and recruit enough volunteers and staff to have multiple lines going at stations and in areas where it's appropriate. So for example, you can have a line at check-in for people who are paying by cash or check, and a separate line with card readers for people who are paying with debit or credit cards. With card readers, you can reduce that waiting time for those guests, ensure that all transactions are processed securely, and map all those transactions back to the attendee so you have accurate receipts after your event. There are many mobile card reader options out there to choose from, including Qgiv's, but don't go all in on those card readers. There are still some people out there who like to pay by cash and check. So make sure to cater to people's preferred payment methods if they don't like credit cards or if your credit card reader technology stops working. With an auction, you also need to consider the checkout process in addition to check-in. Long checkout lines at the end of the night can easily turn a positive event experience into a negative one. So streamlining checkout with digital payment methods, card readers, and instructions on how everybody can claim their auction items ahead of time can really help here. Attendees also want the freedom to move around in your event space, sit and walk around comfortably, and also see the main event. So take note of any potential view obstructions at your venue when making your table seating chart and layout so you can work around them. One of the worst things is going to an event and realizing that you can't even see the entertainment. So providing your attendees with an inviting and engaging experience will make them more likely to donate during your fundraiser and also attend an event in the future. You also want to give everyone information about your missions and campaigns. They're supporting you, so they want an update on how things are going and where their donations are being used. Let them know what you have accomplished with their support. Managing your attendees and optimizing your event layout and lines can be kind of difficult. And that's where fundraising tools like Qgives can really help you make the process seamless and efficient. One way to achieve this is by managing your attendees before and on site through the virtual terminal tool that we talked about earlier. You can access Qgiv's mobile virtual terminal through a laptop or an app on your smartphone, and it allows you to quickly search attendee information, check in at the entrance, check out at the end, and even accept purchases and donations in real time. The best part, it's super easy to train staff and volunteers on a virtual terminal, so no matter who needs to use it, they can help deliver a smooth event experience for all of your donors. To make transactions even smoother, you can pair a virtual terminal with those card readers we talked about earlier to streamline purchases and keep track of all the transactions your supporters make. Another helpful feature here is the ability to create a virtual layout of your event space, including tables and seating arrangements. This helps optimize the flow of your event and ensures that guests can move around easily and efficiently. With Qgiv, you can create a virtual layout with our table and seating management tools to start working on those optimizations before your tables and chairs even arrive at your venue. So now it's time to talk about the virtual attendee experience. It's really easy to overlook this audience because they're not physically right in front of you during your hybrid auction, but out of sight, out of mind should not be your mindset here. Your virtual bidders are just as important as your in-person bidders. And while it may take more effort to engage them, it's well worth it. So building a virtual experience that goes along with your live event is a great way to engage your virtual attendees and make sure they're having just as much fun as your in-person attendees, as well as being kept in the know about what's going on with your auction. The first way that you can do this is by building an informational auction website. An auction website can act as a home base for your virtual attendees. So you can embed your live stream on your website so people can easily find it, add helpful links, how-tos, troubleshooting information, and an FAQ section. Your virtual attendees won't be able to just walk up to somebody at your event to ask questions. So try to anticipate as many questions as you can before the event and then answer them on your website. This can also come in handy for your in-person attendees as well. You can also engage your virtual attendees by encouraging them to engage with each other. So create special social media groups just for your virtual bidders where they can get to know each other, post questions throughout the auction, and react to your event programming together. And you can also get creative and send your virtual attendees a goodie bag or a care package full of supplies and snacks that they can enjoy throughout the night of your auction. So if your auction has a fun theme, you can send out goodies related to that. For example, if you're hosting a glamorous Hollywood themed auction, you can send your virtual attendees bags of popcorn and movie theater concessions so they can recreate the atmosphere of your live event in their own homes. And finally, highlight those auction items throughout the night on your auction website, social media channels, through text messages and emails, and on your live stream to boost visibility of items your virtual bidders might be interested in. Now, we've talked about live streaming. This can be a helpful tool for engaging your virtual audience and including them in your live event. So let's dive into it a little bit more. There's more to it sometimes than just setting up a camera and letting it run for the entirety of the night to capture entertainment and programming. So The first thing, just like you may have an MC for your live event, you can also designate a host for your live stream. Your live stream host can run fun virtual games, provide updates about your auction's fundraising progress, shout out your sponsors, educate your supporters about your mission, answer questions, and moderate the live chat, and generally just run your live stream for you to make sure everything goes smoothly for your virtual attendees. You also want to take advantage of the chat feature if your live stream platform supports it to engage with your supporters, run polls to get to know your audience better, and even add extra elements to the virtual experience like a trivia game maybe about fun facts about your organization and your mission, or a Q&A session. Now, as a note, if you are embedding your live stream directly on your website, features like live chat may not be as accessible. So to access those chat features, make sure to direct your auction participants and provide them with the link to watch the live stream on the original platform you're hosting it on. You can also incentivize social media engagement by offering fun prizes for the most engaged virtual participants on your social media posts. Not only does this engage your virtual audience, but it can also boost your fundraiser's visibility and spread the word about your mission. And speaking of fun prizes, you can also host giveaways and raffles exclusively for your virtual attendees. Market those virtual perks as well to encourage those virtual registrations, and make sure to have your virtual store set up so people can buy raffle tickets from their homes. Finally, you can use gamification tools to encourage participation and keep your supporters updated on your fundraising progress. So let's dive into those virtual gamification tools. One of the most important keys to a successful event is keeping your supporters engaged and informed about the progress towards your fundraising goals, even if they're not physically in attendance. One great way to do this is by using customizable fundraising thermometers. These visuals help show your attendees how close you are to reaching your goal, while also encouraging them to contribute towards it. You can also use a live screencast to showcase your fundraising progress. This can highlight donation activity and generate even more excitement around your event. Shown here is Qgiv's Fund Hub Live. You can also add those fundraising thermometers to it and any other important information you want to display throughout your event. With an activity feed, your hybrid donors at home will see their names pop up on the screen when they donate, and you can even get creative with the feature to make them feel more included. For example, the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation hosts a Broadway Belts event every year where Broadway stars sing some musical theater classics and everybody gets together to fundraise and have a good time. Donors can text a message that shows up on the FundHub Live activity feed, and those Broadway performers will read those messages out loud throughout the night. It makes the event more engaging for virtual attendees and also acts as recognition for those donors' contributions. Using text fundraising can also improve engagement even further. You can accept donations and send event updates directly to your supporters' phones, making it easier for them to stay involved and up to date on the progress of your event. These tools can be extremely valuable in promoting transparency and engagement with your attendees. So by utilizing these event engagement tools, you'll be sure to keep your supporters informed, all while making progress towards your fundraising goals. And now we've arrived. It's the day of your hybrid auction. It's go time, and all the planning you've done up until now has set you up for success. But there are a few things you can keep in mind to ensure your event goes as smoothly as possible. One of the first things that you can have on hand is checklists of to-dos and copies of your event schedule, event layout, important links, software troubleshooting information, and whatever else you need. You can distribute those event schedules and the event layout to key volunteers, staff, and vendors, and make sure everyone knows their responsibilities during event setup so they know where to maybe direct vendors when they can't find you, where to place items. You also want to periodically check in with everyone to make sure everything is proceeding as planned, especially with the volunteers and staff running the virtual portion of your event. By giving everyone an event schedule they can reference, they can keep track of the event themselves so you don't have to spend as much time on oversight. You can also designate a go-to volunteer or staff member or members who would be available to take care of any last-minute things that pop up. So maybe you're missing an extra extension cord, or you're short on programs and need an extra stack printed. That go-to volunteer can take care of it. And you also can make sure that you have a volunteer to keep your virtual portion of the event running smoothly. Having technical difficulties with a live stream, make sure someone's always monitoring and keeping a tab on things to give your virtual attendees a great experience. You can also create an event day binder to keep track of a variety of things. So sitemaps, vendor phone numbers for key staff and volunteers, and also links and passwords to access important virtual auction components like your live stream platform and your auction software. And then you also want to keep networking. You can meet potential volunteers and people who might be interested in getting more involved with your organization throughout your auction night by just talking to them. You can get some FaceTime with those major donors as well and show them how much you value their support and get to know them better. You also want to make an appearance on your live stream to thank your virtual attendees for participating and giving them some FaceTime with you as well. And then you also want to keep communicating throughout the night. Send out texts and push notifications to your bidders to inform them about important information like when bidding opens, when bidding is about to close, and once bidding has completed. Schedule these communications ahead of time so you don't have to worry about manually pushing them out throughout the night. So now that your auction is over and all of your bidders have checked out and received their winning items, it's time for a bit of auction event reconciliation. Make sure to provide some post-auction instructions to your virtual winning bidders about how they can receive their auction items, even if you've already communicated that info before your auction. Reiterate whether you'll be shipping items or if there's a time and place where local winners can come and pick their items up. And you can communicate those logistics to your winners and make the process as easy as possible for them. One way that you can do this is by customizing your receipts. With Qgiv, you can add any element you want to the receipts that can automatically be sent out to your winning bidders once their payment for their items has been processed. Just add some instructions for how winners can pick up their items or how they'll receive them, and you'll get ahead of any confusion. You also want to send out thank yous to major donors and sponsors. You can write a handwritten card or give them a phone call. However you do it, make sure they feel your gratitude. This is essential for building long-lasting relationships with them so they'll become recurring donors and maybe even sponsors for your next event. Make sure to also follow up with your auction participants about how your event went and how much money you raised. Communicate with them about what that money will be used for and how it will help with the communities you serve and further your mission. Continue providing them with updates in the future for the specific projects they helped fund during the auction. And definitely ask for feedback from both your in-person and virtual attendees on what they thought went well with your hybrid auction and where you can improve. You can send out a quick survey that they can fill out or have informal chats with various supporters in the weeks after your hybrid auction. Keep that feedback somewhere where you can reference it for your next hybrid event. I want to thank everyone for joining today. We're going to get to Q&A here in a moment. First off, earlier this year, Qgiv joined the Bloomerang team to offer a modern giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of fundraising. This combined solution unifies your donors' activities, giving you the power to acquire new donors, cultivate impactful relationships, and maximize the potential of your donor communities. If you're interested in learning more and you are a Qgiv customer, feel free to email us at support@qgiv.com with any questions you have about Qgiv's online fundraising tools and the Bloomerang acquisition. If you're not a Qgiv client and you're curious about using the Qgiv platform, it's easy to request a demo. Just visit qgiv.com/demo-request and fill out the form. And if you're looking for more best practices, visit qgiv.com/blog and check out our collection of fundraising blogs and free resources. And now let's move on to our Q&A.
First Q&A, is there anything you can recommend when your event space does not have great Wi-Fi? Or is the success of a hybrid auction reliant on connectivity at the site? When you have 400 people trying to access bidding at once, the system can be overwhelmed.
You can absolutely run the virtual portion of your event from like your office's headquarters or anywhere that you may have more reliable Wi-Fi. Obviously, the priority there is to give your virtual attendees the best possible giving experience. It can be helpful to just have somebody who's physically at your event, who's in touch with those people, that's running the hybrid portion or the virtual portion of your auction elsewhere to make sure that you're keeping tabs on how everything is going. But I would say no, you don't necessarily need to be running the virtual portion of your auction from your event venue. You can have it at a more reliable place with more reliable connectivity. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Wow. Okay, I'm just that good. Can you have a live thermometer at your event? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. You can put it up on that live, you can display it on, your projectors on your website, or have that live screencast. It's really easy to have that live thermometer at your event, so feel free to do it. Yes. In terms of bidding, actually, I think Heidi, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. So with the Qgiv auction platform, everybody kind of has to be registered. So what we recommend is just having a virtual bidder category for them to register for. And one tip I'll share there is just be sure in your verbiage that you say that it does not include a ticket to the event, just so they're not confused.
Carrie
Um,
wants to know if the virtual thermometer is in real time as people are bidding. And yes, they are. As people donate to your event, that thermometer will fill up in real time. And you can also have a like recent activity feed. So donors, you can see names of donors as they donate to your event as well.
And the
Uh,
auction, so that's the Fund Hub thermometer. The auction thermometer, I think, updates every minute or two. But what it'll do is it'll take the highest bid while the bidding is going on, and that's what will be calculated in the thermometer. And then once checkout open, it kind of wipes that and throws in all of the winning bids. I think there's another one. Is the Qgiv app necessary for all participants? It's not necessary. It is a better experience for the bidding, but they can bid on a mobile device via the web.
and they can receive those outbid notifications still through text, through email. They do not, you can use web-based bidding. They do not have to donate or download the app if they do not want to.
when displaying the thermometer, is there a way to remove the scents?
That's a good question. I need to
I don't
look. I'm
know.
not sure. That's a good question, Anna. We'll get back to you for sure on that one.
Fantastic question. So Qgiv offers the CRM and auction system all in one, so we can have all the tools in just one place.
So we have lots of integrations with CRM platforms. Our preferred platform is Bloomerang, but we have plenty of integrations for all of your CRM platforms so that you can easily get that data from your auction event into your CRM and share that seamlessly. You can set up automatic syncs, so you don't even need to press a button to get that information over. It's really, really easy to get all that information between each platform.
Great question so far. Loving it.
All right. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. So again, I just want to thank everybody for attending this webinar today, for asking so many great questions. And oh, it looks like one just rolled in. If we are planning an event in mid-March, when should we implement the Qgiv auction tool? Heidi, I think this is a great question for you.
I typically say at least 2 to 3 months ahead of time. So just to give yourself time to get the system built, designed, and give people time to register, get us time to get you trained. And then usually keeping it open about a month afterwards, just to give you some time on the back end to make sure everybody is paid, checked out, you get everything that you need out of the system.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so again, thank you everybody for joining today. If you have any other questions, feel free to email us, support@qgiv.com. We're happy to answer any other questions that you may have about auctions, fundraising in general. We're here for you. But thank you so much for joining our webinar today, and I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everyone.